Click the links to join channel here over, subscribe, start buying my craft, the various other links, thanks to LG and Vegan and everyone else over there. So into the spider cultural Bolshevik verse, and they go, Sony Pictures promotes child, destruction really, in their latest piece of propaganda with a protect the BLT kids flag. You guys are as subtle as I'm trying to think of a World War II reference. All I can think of is like the T-34. So here's the thing. Why are there BLT kids? Protect them from the brainwashed teachers and the globalist media? Is protect them from whom exactly? Especially when you consider the recent bout of 6 Christians being slaughtered by a BLT person. Or the hey, Christian lives matter, European lives matter also. So the billion-dollar medical industry that makes money from these kids, should we protect them from that? Oh, no. The billion-dollar industry has our best interests at heart. No, they don't. That's what a bias. That's kind of the definition of a bias. 20 years ago, that industry would say was, I don't know, say it was like on average $10 million a year. You go, so what's it now? What's it now, little hobbits? What's it now, little hobbits? Oh, it's $1 billion plus industry. Oh, I'm sure it was organic. Yeah, I'm sure these people have our best interests at heart. I feel like who's that guy who does the red-haired guy who is like Awaken with JP. That guy, what a effing genius that guy is. I would love to have a private conversation with some of these people. Like you're based, right? You know what's up? You're like, yeah, I know what's up. Oh, all right, that's all you need to say. So who should we protect these BLT the TANS kids from? The future Johns that will delete them in a pharmaceutical fueled rage? We're not going to talk about that aspect of the BLT, the kind of the darker path that a lot of these people take. So first of all, let me be upfront, a little bit of virtue signaling. I have nothing against the BLT community. Live your best life, and I'm not just saying that for YouTube because obviously I don't care about YouTube. I say that on the alternative platforms also. I really just don't have an issue. And the funny thing is, when talking about all this stuff about putting kids on pharmaceuticals, I'm saying, oh, hey, you probably don't want to take drugs or have elective surgery. Nazi says, what? So you don't hurt yourself? I'm the bad guy for saying that? Yes, it's actually very convoluted. It's yes, in a way, in a sense. You just don't have to have a stimulus response. It's like not everyone on the opposite of you politically is on the opposite of you in every regard. Like, not everything has to be stimulus response bypassing cognition. So they call our side the Romans saluting Hugo Boss and all this kind of like tilting at windmills, strawman nonsense because we're telling kids not to hurt themselves. That makes us the bad guys. We don't want you to hurt yourself. That you guys are in an existential evil and you must be destroyed for not sort of saying maybe we should think twice about hurting ourselves. Yeah, or maybe some things are just when someone tells you not to hurt yourself, someone older is telling someone younger, oh yeah, you might want to think twice about that pathway. It's at least down the pet cemetery. Maybe think twice about there. Maybe I tell you what, do a little research. Maybe do a lot of research. Don't cut the tree down in the winter. Pray to God, but row to shore. You get this kind of stuff. Like, we're not telling you, like, which one of us is being more reasonable? The people tell you not to hurt yourself or the people tell you to take hormones, pharmaceuticals, and undergo elective surgery? Oh, and makes billions of dollars in the process. Just who benefits? Don't take drugs, hormones, elective surgery. Don't rush into sexuality. Stay young and innocent as long as possible. Stay away from prawn. It's made by monsters as a weapon of war that people don't know they're in. Oh, those are all far right-wing dog whistles. At some point, the moderates, like a lot of people left or right, moderates still in the middle of the bell curve have got to say, okay, challenge accepted. That's fine. Like, are you pro preserving life, or family, the right-hand path, or are you on the sinister path? There are lifeway paths, and I'm not saying join the Christians or march around to Hugo Boss or anything if you're not into that kind of stuff. And if you're into this kind of BLT stuff, well, you're probably not going to be into either one of those. Just saying, don't make decisions that affect your fertility. That makes me evil because the globalists want you to take hormones, drugs, and elective surgery to remove body parts that are not diseased body parts. They're healthy, functioning parts. And you've been brain. No, no, no. I'm not brainwashed. This is organic. I'm organically getting these parts removed. No, you're not. It's that's what a brainwashed person says. The narrative from the media, banking, government, medical industry is coming from this billions of dollars is floating around all those industries. They're brainwashing kids into a belief system, and we're using a $100 Kindle to counter that narrative. Who do you think is having more influence on your beliefs? I mean, keep in mind, like, that's $1 billion industry on one hand. Videos with channels at this size level, it actually costs money to make these videos in terms of your time. Oh, the $1 billion industries still have my best interests at heart, and you're Hugo Boss. None of that makes sense. You think it makes sense because you're swimming in this ocean and you don't know what water is, and it's this ocean of media propaganda. No, no, no. My teacher told me, or government school propaganda, because they are swimming in the same ocean of propaganda. Do you think your beliefs are organic to have these body parts removed, or maybe they've been shaped by these $1 billion companies? Do people outside of the first world have these kind of issues, or even outside of America? Or did they have these issues 200 years ago, or really even 20 years ago? Um, you get what I'm saying with that? Is like, does it feel like a first world problem? An industry created out of thin air. That's brilliant if you're like a monster and you're willing to abuse children. You create $1 billion industry out of thin air. Yeah, I mean, from a business standpoint, that is a brilliant maneuver, to create a product that they think they want, and then use the media to brainwash them into it. Yes, from a business standpoint, that's genius. From a human standpoint, well, I can't really go any further than that to seek that peaceful redress of grievance. Um, I mean, there's really nothing worse than people who are hurting kids, but then people who are sterilizing kids. What should be done after legally processed? So what's the Latin for who benefits and follow the money? You get the idea. When you get older, you can see these companies. They look like, if you have the They Live glasses on, and once you hit like 35, you can never take those glasses off. You see things. It just gets worse, actually, to be perfectly honest. Have you stopped to consider that the people trying to turn you into lifelong patients are the bad guys? We're not telling you to take any action, just advising you perhaps avoid making a decision with long term consequences before you're maybe 30, or even any time within that window of fertility. You really don't, I mean, by 35, 37, if you're, I'm trying to think female, because while you say you don't want kids now, the probability is you're going to change your opinions because we're old people who were once young people, and you're young now and you haven't been old. But many of us who said that we hated kids or hated the ideas of them, we were just parodying globalist media propaganda also, whether it was in the 70s, 80s, or whatever. But many of us who were saying those kind of things, we have kids and grandkids because we met the right person, and we put those childish things aside, I think it says in the Bible. You're young now, and hopefully one day you'll get old. Getting old sucks, but it beats the alternative. And along the way, you're going to want to have that option to have kids because you're going to meet the right person. How you feel at 20 or even 25 is not how you feel at 50 when you have your grandkids. Don't you think it's a little weird that suddenly there's this pervasive narrative being pushed in schools and the media, that kids should take hormones, drugs, and get surgery to remove body parts? Do you think this sudden movement is organic? Do you think the kids themselves decided to start this $1 billion medical industry? Because that's what this is. It's a $1 billion industry creating lifelong customers. That path goes to an increased probability of drugs and getting involved in the adult industries. However, the life expectancy of that path is very short because the Hollywood narrative is this glamorous, fun Instagram life for the BLT kids. No, not for most of the BLT kids. Here's the thing. If you're super lean, you're good looking, you're going to get a lot of positive feedback on social media while you're young, and if you stay skinny, male, female, whatever. You're going to be able to do a lot with that if you want to be a social media personality. Like you can make enough to set yourself up, buy yourself a couple of homes. The makeup tutorials for the guys. Jeffree Star, I think, is somebody. Or like if shoe on head, like you're good looking, young, and personable, then there's no harm in getting on a computer and like getting enough to buy to set yourself up. Yeah, that's if that's a pathway, you kind of have to take that. But the thing is, for the other 99% of these BLT kids who you look at them as like, oh, you're just kind of a chubby kid who's, blue haired chubby kid who's a little bit bored. It's like, instead of focusing on all this BLT stuff, you should probably learn about vegetables and eating lower on the food chain, maybe. Less processed food. I sit here as I have an empty Easter egg wrapper in front of me. And losing some weight and getting a little exercise. That should be the like order of operations, order of priorities. It's like well the eating less is going to be number one, and then starting to walk is going to be number two. The dyeing your hair and worrying about hormones and all this stuff. It's like you're just a bored fat kid who wants to stand out. It's like we've all been there, or something the equivalent. Like that should be like I kind of think that if you lose the fat, your worldview is going to change. Suddenly, all this stuff is just not going to be that important anymore, because we're all young at one time. So the thing is, for those BLT kids, the 99%, they're not going to be these Instagram stars after they graduate high school. I mean, they're going to be invisible on social media because most of them are. They have very small social media footprints. Even if they are, part of the BLT community, they're still mostly invisible. The thing is that the truth of a lot of the BLT community is that they get into these adult type of work in those kind of industries because they're in a position where they're graduated from high school and they're BLT, they're putting on the makeup and doing all this kind of stuff, and so they're dressing up and stuff. And you go like, oh, so you want to like paint houses over the summer and do a little, I don't know, learn light construction with your uncle or your father, and like, I don't know, prep houses, paint houses, do tiling, and put in some patios or whatever. And it's like they're already like they're dressing up, they're going on this pathway, and it's like they really don't want to do that. So they go, okay, well, I guess I could work at Target for $10-15 an hour or something. It's like, or, and then you're going to get a bunch of people looking at you. It's like, yeah. Or you could go into a different type of industry where there's a fetish for people who will, pay for that kind of thing. And that's what I'm talking about, pathways and decisions, because that's where the pathway kind of funnels a lot of these people into. They get into these adult type of industries because they realize like, oh, I can't really go, what am I going to do? Like, paint houses over the summer wearing a makeup and a dress. It's like that's not really who I am now. So they go into these other kind of darker industries with unfortunately, like, you get exposed to a lot more disease, drug dependence, and subject to violence from the clients. Like that's just the brutal reality. And it's like, oh, how come that's not the public narrative? It's like, well, have you done any research? Do you know any older people in the BLT community? Like if you're in San Francisco, if you're in San Francisco or LA or any city, it's like, but you're close to that area. It's like you're gonna know people and you're gonna be able to talk to people, and you see like, can't help but notice that a lot of these folks are into pharmaceuticals, which a lot of people are into. It's like use them, don't let them use you, whatever. If you want while you're young, though, honestly, like you're not missing out if you don't do them at all. Like there's nothing wrong with the clean sober lifestyle. But a lot of them are also into the adult industries because they don't see any other pathway that kind of makes use of this effort they've already put into it. And that's a very dangerous and short lifestyle. It's statistically, I mean, you can like look at the insurance tables on that. And here's the thing: if I'm Hugo Boss, tinfoil hat, saluting, all this kind of stuff. If I hated you and other people like me, why would we try to warn you against such a dangerous, miserable life? Don't take hormones, drugs, or elective surgery. Avoid prawn in the adult industries. Those don't seem like such radical things to say. Oh, those are Hugo Boss far right dog whistles. And then what? So what? Okay, fine. Then clearly that's the winning position to say you should not be involved in high risk activities. But ultimately up to you. But the narrative from the parasitical media is that we're Hugo Boss and the government, media, banking, medical complex is on your side. Just stop to think about that for a minute. We're the bad guys who don't want you to hurt yourself, and the billion-dollar industry is the good guys. Does that make sense? I make no money from you. The medical industry makes money from you. One of us is going to be biased. Like I said, it literally, at this level, it literally costs money to make videos. Obviously, make up your own mind. You're going to live and learn. Hopefully, you'll live and hopefully you'll learn. But what happens when you hit 30 and you meet your love and you want kids and suddenly you can't have them or you can't breastfeed, or some decisions are permanent. You'll never breastfeed if you remove your mammary glands. It's forever. If you remove your testicles, you will never produce sperm. So maybe don't do those kind of things. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next episode.